Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brett Allen from the Open Mic Podcast, and we are live streaming. So, if you're listening to this interview later down the road, this will all make sense because we're doing a Facebook Live on Facebook, YouTube. And I have two amazing women with me, two amazing actors, and we're going to talk to them. They are a mother-daughter team. You have seen one, I'm certain, on the hit TV show For Life, the other one on Manifest, another great show. And they are both just amazing people. And I'm going to bring them on. Tyla and Andrene, welcome into the show. It's good to have you guys here today.
Hi, thanks for having us, Brett.
Well, first things first, I know we have been on lockdown and COVID and everything else that could possibly happen in our world, but I understand you both were recently got the call, the bat phone rang and said it's time to come back to work. So what has that experience like been so far? I understand you had a table read today or something. What's going on?
Oh, actually, today was our overview of just everything concerning health on set and how everything is going to happen with conditions of the pandemic. And it was actually very comforting to hear the amount of strategies that they're taking to ensure that everyone is super safe on set. And it's almost funny because I heard this phrase a bunch of times during the call: you will probably be safer on set than you are at home. And with everything that's going, that might be true. Like testing all the time and making sure that the filtration is right, making sure that there's people on there, but not everybody in the same room at the same time. It's just a lot of conditions.
Yeah.
Wow. And for you, Andrene, how do you feel about this? You're obviously in the industry, but now the daughter is going back to work.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable? I mean, what are you? I know you have to have some thoughts.
Well, we're going together. She's not terribly excited, but I am. But it's I think I'm excited to get back to work, period. I like that we're actually kind of getting some momentum on at least the first steps and seeing how it goes, but it looks like a few productions have had some successful starts, so I'm really excited to get back. I think the most daunting part of it is having, to quarantine again, but it's always for our safety, making sure that while we're working, that we are still, to the best of our abilities, staying within our quarters so that we don't affect anybody else on set, and we do nothing else to slow the momentum gain of us getting back to normal, to the work norm.
Sure. Now, you are both the first actors I've spoken to since this green light has been given to go back to work. So kind of what is the vibe can you expect when, let's say, the first day on set, Tyler, you talked about the briefing. Like what are some of the things that are going to change from when you used to come on to now? Like what's your mindset? What's the game plan? What are they telling you to prepare for?
Everything is going to change.
Okay.
Like it sounds daunting being told it, but when you think about it, it's just a bunch of safety concerns that are being addressed, especially with, for example, we were told to expect that when filming a scene, I don't know if for all of your viewers, usually when you film a scene, there's over 30 people in a room.
Oh yeah, it's packed out, body to body.
Right. And now they're saying everything is going to be done from a remote place. So you should only expect 2 people in the room besides the other actors, which is absolutely insane to even imagine now, because it's a new normal, as well as when you get on set, testing and having rapid tests so that you can know where you are in this amount of time. And if you're positive, they have processes that they help you go through. It's just, even down to hair and makeup, where they're going to be in full mask, full suits, PPE gear, face shields. It's almost like you're talking to robots, but it's good, At least I get to see people. Is how I feel.
Instead of yeah, I know, right? I can imagine for both of you, it's a relief because you're getting to go back to do what you love. And instead of hanging out at home together every single day and going, to separate sides of the house, whatever you do to have your quarantine, say, but I think that's exciting. I'm glad to hear that the industry is starting to, and you're able to get to work and to do things. Now, you both have projects. I mentioned earlier in our intro, Tyla, you did For Life, which is a great show. I had another actor on from that show, Greg Daniels. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he had a story arc on the show. And of course, Andrene, you have other projects that are coming up as well. I know you from Manifest, obviously, which is a great show. But now that you're back in this, kind of what can we expect from you? Either one of you can go first. What have you got coming up, and what can we expect?
Project Power on Netflix.
Yes.
The 14th. That's this week. With Jamie Foxx, Dom Fishburne, yeah. Lovecraft Country.
Wow.
Joe Gordon-Levitt is on. Oh my God, Project Power. I'm like, I didn't have my ginkgo today. I'm like drawing all
That's okay. It's all good. We're very casual here at the show. No pressure.
Lovecraft Country. I take a peek in there a couple times. I'm really excited about that. There's something else, and it's out. Oh my goodness.
So would it be? We got Project Power, Cutthroat City, Cypher.
We were just talking about it too, so I'm like, I don't know. Ginkgo. I'm not having enough vitamins, clearly.
That's okay. And Tyla, how about you? Are you going back on to For Life, or what else do you have coming up?
Yeah, looking forward to season 2 of For Life and just, being a working actor and auditioning. I'm also in college right now, so
Okay.
I'm a junior this year, so I've been focusing on my studies too and just really doubling down into, what I want in life. I'm getting to that age of like, oh, what exactly do I want to do with my life? So just focusing in on my talents.
We have a viewer saying here, Joe Z2662, I love For Life and Strange Weather. So you have a fan out there watching for both of you. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you both have just done some amazing work. I love For Life. I said I had Greg Daniels on. He had about a 3 or 4 episode arc. He played a man who was wrongfully convicted. And it's such a powerful and important show because it's created by 50 Cent, right? He's the one that came up with the idea. And that guy, he's a dream guest. I'll tell you, I'm going to put it out in the universe right now because he's so smart in everything that he does, whether he's in a film or he's writing or directing, even down to his music. So this question is for Tyla. When it comes to For Life, what has that experience been like for you? And when you auditioned and were offered the role, what did you do to prepare for it and to kind of get into that mental space as such a young person dealing with all of these deep issues and the topics that our country is currently dealing with? How do you get into all that and prepare?
So I'll start with the audition process. I've actually had someone ask me if I was offered the role. No, I auditioned like every other actor, got a call back, and then I was called to do an in-person callback with Julie Schubert, who's absolutely amazing. And in the room, it was Mr. Hank, Mr. Doug, Miss Allison, and Mr. Tillman, which are all producers of the show, and Miss Julie, who's casting. It's a small room, and I was knee to knee with Mr. Hank, and he's like, all right, scene 1. Now scene 3, now scene 2, now scene 4. It's very intense, but afterwards they called back a few weeks later, said they loved me. We did the pilot, and then at Upfronts in New York, found out it got picked up. So for me, that was my first time ever going through a process like that. It's my first huge role being cast in a show. I've been recur over a season. I've never been cast before, so that's fun. And just being a part of a show where the whole cast is absolutely like phenomenally talented is just, it's definitely grounding. And this whole season has just been full of like me learning more about myself, my craft, and how I can become a better actress within that. Also, because of I'm a poli sci major at school, so
Okay.
I'm international law, and my major is poli sci. So just being able to, when I found out the show got booked and picked up, I was graduating high school, so I was going into college doing law, and I got to meet Mr. Isaac, who's actually been influential in the show and been a part of the show every day, been there for a tool as a resource. And to say that like all of my talents and all of the things that I love was coming together and clashing, and being able to ask Mr. Isaac about his experience, and also having my experience being a poli-sci student. I've been a policy debater for 7 years. I've been involved in law.
Wow.
And then on top of that, with the protest happening, I was raised to have a very keen outlook on, politics, period, and how it affects everyone, not just in my own scope. So it's just been a huge journey of knowing where I stand in this society and what exactly I want to do. And I think being in these different pressured environments has pushed me to grow so much. I'm so, so, so grateful for Mr. Hank and Mr. Isaac for coming together and coming up with this show, and for Mr. 50 for producing it, helping out with it.
That's so funny. How old are you again? You sound like you're 40. So for you, Andrene, I want to ask you about your experience as an actor, but coming at this as a mother's perspective, because it's not uncommon these days where you have mom or dad who are performers, and then the kids kind of decide either they do or don't want to be an actor. For you, having been an actor for quite some time, and then when your daughter Tyla showed interest, what was your initial expression as far as, I want her to do this, I don't want her to do this, or were you
A little bit
just fully supportive from the start?
Like, I didn't want her to be a part of it, only because I was a little familiar with young actors and just how the industry can sometimes eat you, chew you up and spit you out. So, and I'm just kind of getting my feet wet in it myself and figuring, just figuring out the schematics of this whole industry, and to bring her along is always, it's scary. And I wanted to make sure that to make sure it's something she wanted to do and not something that I would love for her to do, because I didn't want to get blamed in a couple years for ruining lives. But she
a TMZ story. Why did you do that to her?
And of course I would be to blame. So she had to study for a year, and then my agent ended up picking her up and was like, well, we can see how it goes. And she's actually pretty good. So I'm not mad. But I think she's at an age now that this is where the combativeness happens, and you gotta love late teens. So it's a journey. It's a journey of discovery. It's me letting go, allowing her to grow, and also hoping that what I've instilled in her, that bit of discernment, is always used. One can only pray. But I'm always I'm always I'm close.
That's good. Do you go out with her to auditions and kind of help her look at scripts, or do you leave that up to her and your manager or your agent and let them kind of sort all that out?
When she was auditioning is a little different now, but when she was going mostly in high school, so I had to take her. And ironing out her script, she now has a coach because it's really difficult to give any kind of.
But we never really start the way like I got into the industry. Mom, a children's class, and then also she had a camp and an after school in which she taught kids acting improv. So I was used to dealing with like other coaches and seeing other teachers because they were like, "Oh, your mom can't teach you." So it's never really been a thing of mom helping me per se. What she has done is mom puts me on tape all the time. So she'll
Okay.
see on tape and be like, "Okay, you missed this and correct this." But as far as like ironing out scripts and stuff like that, it's been mostly with my coach.
She has a coach because
Okay.
I'm mom.
Yeah, well, that's funny because the coach's kid, outside of you actually literally having a coach, always has it the hardest, right? That's what Ice Cube's kid said when he had to audition for Straight Outta Compton. I mean, now he stands on his own, obviously, but that was really kind of what put him on the map, right? As far as a
Right.
performer, maybe other things that he had done. Actually, a film with 50 Cent, Den of Thieves. So we're all connected sympathetically here in some strange way, which I think is how this all works. Now you're focusing on her and you've got her assigned to people helping her. As far as your career trajectory goes, you've done these great shows, and now you've got a couple other projects. What is your process as far as preparing and getting ready for an audition? How do you choose your scripts that get sent to you, or how does that all work out for you?
I mean, there are very few that I turn down. I think I've been lucky enough that I've had some really great roles come across the table. I have a coach as well.
Okay.
And it literally is just having just a couple sessions with him to kind of feel through just the parts that I miss. And I honestly, there aren't too many roles that I'm like, okay, no, that would not be beneficial, or that's out of the question. I'm like open to just about anything, just even for homework, for practice, just to kind of work that muscle, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's great because you both want to continue working and creating amazing content and work that stands the test of time, which you both have already done so well. Tyla, what inspires you as an actor? Who are some folks that you look up to that, and you could say mom, that's okay. But if there are other actors that you look up to or that you pull things from, who would those people be?
I think my first inspiration, of course, was my mom because she used to bring me everywhere. So I used to see, that was my way of seeing everything happening around me, especially just watching adult classes and seeing the forward way of thinking that everyone had to go through. As far as actors, one of the first movies I ever watched was Blades of Glory, and I loved Will Ferrell.
Your mom is like, what?
Mom is an amazing mom. But I was introduced to a lot of different art styles early on, and I think that's instrumental in me understanding the craft. Will Ferrell, we used to watch SNL all the time when I was younger. Everyone on there, Maya Rudolph from Amy Poehler, Tina Fey. I absolutely love Angela Bassett. I absolutely love Uma Thurman from Kill Bill. That was also one of my favorites for a very long time. And I think most of all, as far as inspiration goes, Eartha Kitt, just because of everything that she had to persevere through during her time, the fact that she was such a strong activist and she stood true to her word, and at the same time she persevered into this beautiful blossoming career in which she could help other people. I just love that about her.
Wow. So that cancels out Will Ferrell in Blades of Glory, which I'll be honest, it's a funny movie. I mean, you know, it's interesting. I mean, it's obviously paid off for him, right? I mean, he's got a house, he's got a car, he's doing okay with Blades of Glory. But now, since you both are involved in the industry, do you watch each other's work? Do you critique each other, or is it one sided? I always like to ask these questions when you have families that work together.
I'm really critical of myself, but I try not to critique her until she requests my
Okay.
opinion, because I don't want her to feel like I'm judging every moment she's chosen, because it has to
Sure.
be authentic to her, and that you are already your worst critic in this industry. So I want to make sure that what she's getting from me is the support she is requesting of me, like what she really needs, as opposed to what a parent could just kind of impose on their kids. So,
Okay.
but she asks a lot, so I don't mind being very honest. I'm not super curt about it. There is a roundabout way of giving my opinion, and I think I'm
Mom's
courteous.
very empathetic, but she can also be very blunt. But I like that about her, because then I can get the real truth. And I know when she says something's good, I know it's good. But also, like mom, like daughter, I'm very, very, very critical of myself. And I think my mom just knows that, because she can see my face when I watch myself. She knows when I'm not believing myself. So I'll ask and she'll give her opinion.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, you're very. How do you handle rejection, Tyler? Like, if you go out and audition for something and you get no's, because there's a lot of no's in the business, right? It's a very small percentage that have success, or even smaller that have gotten to where you both have. But how do you deal with rejection in this industry? And the second part of that question is, how do you take that and use that to motivate you to make you better for the next time that you go out?
As far as dealing with rejection, because I was raised around adult classes, I saw the way other people handled it. And for the most part, what I came up with myself is you do it and you let it go. But as long as you know that you did your best, you can only control what you can control. So as far as rejection goes, it always sucks when you audition for something. You're like, oh, I never heard back from that. And you're watching Netflix and you're like, hey, I know that line. Why don't I know that?
Yeah. Hey, they never called me.
Right. But I think the universe, God, whatever people themselves want to believe in, there's a path for you in life, and there's enough room for, stuff to go around for everyone. So I feel like if I get rejected for something, it just wasn't my time, and my time will come. As far as handling it after and becoming better, usually when you audition for things, you don't receive feedback on it unless it's immediate in the room and they want you to correct something. You feedback. So the best thing that I can do is, if I were to ever see that thing, watch it, be like, oh, okay, I didn't get this because they were looking for this type of role, or casting was looking for this, or maybe they didn't know what they want and that person brought what they wanted. All I can do is become better in my own craft and my own style of acting. But I can't necessarily go, I should have been more of this, because it may not apply for the next audition.
Yeah, I mean, I did some background work on some TV shows a long time ago when I lived in New Mexico, and I had the opportunity to audition for some things. And really what I equate it to is, it's like going to a job interview, but then you never hear if you got the job or not. And there's this overwhelmingness that comes upon it. And it's funny because even if it's just one line, like, how are you doing today, Tyler? And that's my only line. You prepare for it. You come up with your backstory, your motivation, whatever it might be. This guy, he might be a serial killer, but he carries gummy bears in his pocket to remember his kids. So I got my gummy bears in my pocket, and you do the best that you can. Andrene, what about you? Like, how do you deal with it, and how do you motivate yourself to do better the next time and process the rejection as a performer?
I eat a lot of ice cream.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks.
You can never. There is nothing in you that's going to that you are not going to feel just a little bit of disappointment, and you have to be honest with yourself in it. I think it really is keeping yourself busy, knowing that this is not the end. This is just one in a path of many. And again, this industry and all of these roles, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You are consistently giving to your craft if you are studying, if you are practicing, if you are doing things on the back end. And it is keeping yourself busy, because the more that you try to hold on to this thing that you think is supposed to go your way, it's so frivolous. That's how quickly it just kind of dwindles through your fingers. So I try to keep myself busy. I keep myself busy with other things. So even though I study my craft, what other things do I enjoy doing? Might go bike riding. Some people like the gym. Not me so much. I wish I did. I love ice cream. I love pizza. Like I love hanging out with my little cousins. I love being around my family. So I just fill the time with other moments so that you are not harping over this thing that is now out of your control. You've done everything that you're supposed to. Let it go. You know?
Yeah, I've heard that said before too by other people, that oftentimes, Tim Gunn said this to me, like when you chase things so intensely that they oftentimes elude you or maybe even escape you. And I even noticed it here when I'm trying to book guests and I get an email out, I'm in, let's do it. And then I don't hear anything for 3 days. And then I keep asking and asking. And then eventually, I make it into the trash basket and I don't hear back. But the point is that it's just either it's supposed to be or it's not supposed to be, right? And I think and I love the fact that you both are so open about your faith. I love that so much. And the idea of discernment, you don't hear that term all too often. It rings a bell with me because I know exactly what it is. And it's a gift, and it's either a real blessing or a curse, depending on the level of which you have it at. Sometimes it's more a curse sometimes, I think. But I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, Tyla, this is a question for you because you're in college, so you have friends and people that surround you. Do you find them treating you differently, or is it hard to make friends because you're famous and you're on a TV show?
It's funny you say that. Coming out of high school,
that's discernment right there.
Within high school, I was very active in a bunch of different groups. Like I was dancing, I was doing volunteer work, I was debating. I had a lot going on social wise, and literally the week I graduated was the week I learned that the show picked up. And from then I only really talked to my two best friends, which I still talk to this day. So no one's treating me differently, but that's also because I only had the two people I have now, and they always ground me anyways. So it's like I have a good circle around me. I have my family, my two friends, and that's all I really need at that point. And it kind of, you feel a certain way because it's like, oh, I'm young, I should be doing X, Y, Z. I feel that way sometimes, but I just have to trust that, I have a different path, and that time will come.
Yeah. How about you, Mom? How do you feel about that? Is it hard for you to watch her kind of, because I don't feel like she's missing out on certain things in life because she's in school, but like as a mom looking at it through that lens, like, do you look at her and go, well, I agree with her, this is her path? Or kind of what's your vibe with all of that, kind of watching her grow up and really a different and unique world than most women her age, right? I mean, this is not normal for most teenage Black women to be so successful, to have this kind of, like, I'm sure people know who you are. Like, how do you mitigate all that and process that as a loving mother?
I'm still scared because this is all still new. I don't think that she sees all the time the folks that come in our circle and that just approaching with a bit more caution. I don't see that she's missing out on a lot, but I do understand where she feels like her life is different, and
Sure.
to balance the two. I know I'd feel a lot different if she just went off to college and was having that experience, and that's
But
not.
I'm not on campus, so I don't know if that adds clarity. But
Well, no, but still, though, you're kind of doing things that make. Let's say, for example, like for someone like you, Tyler, someone might just, if they experience that kind of success, they might decide that they don't want to go to school, or they might not want to. They just put all their eggs in one basket, right? And they just kind of go for it. And then it either works out for them or it doesn't. And then they pick things up later. So I think that's a good answer, you know, Andrene, because it's still got to be tough for you as a mom watching her kind of go through life in a different way.
It, man, I can't tell you how scary it is, because sometimes she feels like I'm a little overbearing or protective of her, and where the independence she would have if she just went away on campus to college as opposed to being so close to home, she'd feel a little bit different, but we don't know all of the ins and outs of the industry. So it's, I tell her I'm just there as a precaution and not so much as, you know, the mother, you know, over her. So when she travels, the request is to be alone, but I'm still going to be around because new adults, and we're still figuring this out. And there are questions that you might have that you might need my assistance with, because again, all brand new. So it's kind of moving around the allowing her to grow and be an adult, and still, I think she forgets sometimes that there are people that know you that you might not know. So
Sure.
we have to keep that awareness, even, and it's not in a gloating manner. It really is. You really have to be careful, because people that know you might not see it, and they might try to take advantage of you. So let's just proceed with a little more caution when we meet new people, when people want to befriend you a little too quickly. And I'm from New York, so radars are always going to be up.
Oh, I know. You're always like, you're up. That's funny. Yeah, I love that. I'm a father myself. My son is 6. And so I got a little bit of a late start. You can see his artwork behind me here in life. And we're doing first grade this year. So that's what motivates me to do this and talk to great people and have fun conversations. So I get it. You know, there's the dad bear comes out, or whatever the case might be. But I think this is a beautiful picture and story of just beauty and success, and you're just enjoying this journey together, and you both have done great things. I'll be honest, I'm a little mad at Manifest and how the storyline is going, but what are you gonna do, right? You know, that's television. But you've got other great projects coming up, which we're looking forward to. All of this Netflix things, and of course, Tyla, you've got your season 2 coming up, and whatever else the future holds for you. If people go ahead.
And Your Honor with Mr. Bryan Cranston. I am really excited about that one.
Oh, wow. Walter White himself.
I know. We still have to finish shooting, but that's on Showtime. Yeah, they just gave a sneak peek on that. So it's been for as bad as COVID and quarantine has been, 2020 has been a hell of a year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, it's interesting, because that's where my show really just started booming, was because everybody was free and available. Like, you know, I was like fish in a barrel. You know, I could just email somebody and they're like, okay, you know, I don't have anything else better to do. And I'm like, I'll take it. Well, I will say you have amazing publicists, because Marcy and her team have just set me up with fantastic performers like yourself, and we've just had fun conversations. And maybe one day we'll be able to do this all in person. I was supposed to do that a couple weeks ago, but I just can't afford to be gone for 2 weeks to quarantine because, you know, I have my son and we're doing school and it's crazy. So in any case, I will let you both go, but if they want to connect with you on social media in a safe way, and remember, Mom is watching, everybody, how can they do so?
Oh, for me, it's Tyla Ann Harris, TYLAHARRIS, and that's on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
And I am terrible at social media, so I haven't linked everything. So on Facebook, Andrene-Ward Hammond, Instagram, at Sweet Dream, DRENE. I'll change it at some point so that everything connects.
I know it's the whole thing. It's okay. I mean, it's a time suck, but you know, especially now, that's kind of how everything works. Everybody's connected, you know, on social media and things. So in any case, well, I want to thank you both for being on the show today. This was a lot of fun. And we'll release the audio version of this later, but you can catch this on Facebook Live. You can catch it on Twitch. You can also catch it on YouTube. Tyla and Andrene, thank you for being on the show today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Brad. We appreciate you.
Yes, and this episode today has been brought to you by the Cheap Seat Entertainment Network. We'll be back soon. Cheers, everybody.